Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at wagertalk.com, and all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.
Welcome to the NBA Triple Double Show powered by SportsMemo. I'm your host, Ronald Cabang, also known as UCapper on SportsMemo.com, at UCapper Sports on Twitter. I'll be joined by Moneyline Matt and Joe D'Amico. We'll be breaking down 3 of today's games, 8-game slate actually, but 3 of them that we're going to be breaking down. We do have some promos that we want to talk about though before we get into those games. First one up is the Super Bowl to Super Bowl All Access package. This means you'll get all sports, all plays, all 5% bets from now until Super Bowl 58 next year from your favorite sports memo handicappers. The deal equates to around $3 to $4 a day. So the sooner you get it, the better the deal, because the all access starts as soon as you purchase the package. It is $1,199, which is $800 less than the regular value of the package. Like I said earlier, it equates to around $3 to $4 a day. If you compare that to the normal one-day all-access pass, which is $39, you can tell that you're getting a really great deal there. Another thing to note as well, it is Monday. So Monday is $9 Mondays over at sportsmemo.com. Today, all picks and packages on the site are just $9. Those amazing deals are going on over at sportsmemo.com, so make sure you check out the site on a daily basis to see what we got going on there. We have the live odds page. We got everybody's, all the handicappers got picks and packages up on a daily basis as well. So make sure you go over there after the site. Also, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button before you go. It does only take a couple clicks and it helps us grow tremendously on our show here. Let's bring up Matt and Joe to the panel. Guys, it's Monday. You know, we this weekend to me was pretty good. I had a 9-5-1 overall combined weekend. That included MMA, college basketball, soccer, and NBA, and that kind of goes, you know, with why we want these all access packages. NBA though specifically did not go well. 2-4 in the NBA specifically, so need a bounce back day today. We did have a strong week overall last week, so maybe just, you know, the weekend was tough for me on Sunday specifically. Joe, how about you? How was your weekend going?
Well, you know, I was going into the weekend doing pretty well. I as you know, Ronald, I put up a lot less games than most cappers out there. And sports fans, if you're following a capper, he puts up a lot of games and he's making money, more power to him and more power to you. I'm not a big quantity capper. I put out a lot less games, and I went into the weekend pretty good. Saturday was not the greatest, wasn't the worst. I went 2-3. I won my first 2 games of the day. And when you set the tone, have like a 9 a.m. Pacific time winner, a 10 or 11 a.m. Pacific time winner, and you're feeling good for the rest of the day, then you check the following day, you find that you were 2-3. It pisses you off. And then I wound up going 0-1. I had Fordham on Sunday, so I went 2-4 over the weekend. Not the biggest disastrous weekend, but if you're following Joe D, and for Joe D specifically for myself, I'm very, very hard on myself. So it was unacceptable to me. But I will tell you, I looked at both. You mentioned on the intro to the show, Ronald, you know, the NBA card was kind of a tough card. We have 8 games on the board. I thought the college basketball card with 5 or 6 games total was a difficult card. Kind of like being in a bar at the end of the night when they put on the lights and yell last call. You look around, you need at least 2 more shots to take home one of the girls remaining. They're not the best looking girl in the bunch are remaining in the bar at that time at last call. So you need at least 2 shots to take one of them home. I'm going to catch hell for that comment. But I will tell you, I did pass today overall on premium plays, but I've got some games I really like that I'll be giving out on the roundtable, and a best bet that almost made it as a premium play.
Awesome. Matt, how was your weekend? Maybe did you touch on the UFC or Bellator or anything else at all this weekend?
Yeah, so honestly, I kind of chilled out this weekend. There was no NFL. I went 8-2 in the NBA Monday through Friday. So I kind of took it as an opportunity to just kind of take a step back. I only had one play on Saturday, and that was actually LeBron James over 27.5 chasing Kareem, which he ended up at 27, missing 3 free throws in the final minute for me. So that was very nice of him. But looking to get it back going this Monday with everyone here. Feel like we're seeing the NBA very well on this show as of late, just looking to keep this rolling. We swept the best bets on Friday. I swept the best bets Monday, Wednesday, Friday last week, and just looking to see if we can't repeat this. So if you guys hit on any of those bets, you've taken anything away from any of our plays on this show, please hit us with a subscribe. Please hit us with a like button, a comment, anything along those lines. Greatly appreciated, and it goes a really long way in growing this show and getting more shows out there and more picks, plays, everything like that. So again, we appreciate everyone.
Awesome. Yeah, exactly. I mean, definitely leave the comments, leave the likes and subscribes as well. I mean, it does help us grow tremendously here. Well, with that said, let's get into the NBA slate here. We got 3 games on the board. The first one up, Clippers and the Nets. Clippers coming off of that OT win over the Knicks on Saturday. They have covered 3 straight games now, so they're playing pretty well. Last of a 6-game road trip though, so they've been traveling for a while. They do face the Mavs on Wednesday, which should be the first game for Kyrie in a Mavs jersey. The Nets on the other side, they are coming off of that outright win over the Wizards on Saturday. They were really shorthanded. They were still able to get the W there. Second of a 5-game homestand. First leg of back-to-back games though. As far as injuries, John Wall is out. On the other side, KD and Seth Curry are out. Ben Simmons questionable. TJ Warren is probable, so we should see him today. Don't think Dinwiddie or Dorian Finney-Smith will be in the lineup for the Nets today. So those are the guys who just got traded yesterday. From a matchup perspective, Nets won and covered that first matchup of the season, 110-95. Joe, I'm going to start with you here. What are your thoughts on this one with the shorthanded Nets coming off of that win?
Well, first of all, I want you to know that I find that you and Matt are my good luck charms. The last 2 shows I've done here, 4-0 and 3-1. I may have to do the show every day. I'll tell you that. I'm gonna have to pay somebody else, so I'm featured every single day. Anybody that follows me is doing very well. I appreciate you having me talking about this game, my friends. I'm gonna stay away from the entire Brooklyn Nets Kyrie Irving soap opera. The one thing I will tell you is in his 3+ seasons with the team, he's only appeared in about half of their regular season games. As a matter of fact, to be exact, 143 out of 278 regular season games. Now, Brooklyn does come off a win on Saturday, which with, I believe, having only 8 players available, I will tell you a big weight has probably been lifted off their shoulders, and they will play a little looser, but I don't think they're going to be loose just yet. And I certainly don't think they're going to be loose in tonight's matchup. They're facing a visiting Clippers squad that has won 7 of the last 9 straight up, and more importantly, for our purposes, 7 of the last 8 against the spread coming into tonight's contest. They also had the chance to get a little payback here, my friends. I'm Sicilian and know a lot about revenge, and I believe in the revenge factor. Having said that, a November 12th home loss in which they were embarrassed by Brooklyn 110-95, they can get a little payback. Granted, Los Angeles offense leaves a lot to be desired, but they still have one of the best and most frustrating defenses in the NBA. And I believe getting Brooklyn, which I feel is going to be a little fatigued from that big barn burner the other night, will further benefit them. I'm not crazy about laying this many points on the road, but the Clippers have covered 6 of the last 7 away from home, 7 straight on 1 day's rest, and 5 of the last 6 on the road versus teams with a winning home record. Meanwhile, let's face it, the Nets have only covered 17 of the last 59 at the Barclays Center. Not in love with this game, but I put a lean on the Clippers, folks.
Lean on the Clippers. Matt, what are your thoughts on this one too? Are you with Joe here as far as leaning towards the Clippers side? It's really tough to go back to back shorthanded. You know what I mean? Like we talk about that injury replacement theory, right? Like Joe said, they only had 8 players in the lineup in that rotation that game. Is there fatigue gonna set in on these guys, or is this sort of like a letdown spot to you?
Yeah, so for me, actually, I was trying to go back and forth on what side I would actually want here. And then I kind of looked at the total, and I felt way more comfortable actually going with that because in this spot, this is the Clippers team traveling on the road to face off against the Brooklyn Nets. And this is a spot where the Clippers are coming off that recent win over the New York Knicks and are in their last game of a 6-game road trip. So it's kind of like, are they looking ahead? Do they just want to get home? Are they going to come out and play hard? What's it going to be? And as for the Nets, this is a team that has won three of their 4 last games, but obviously, to everyone's point, recently traded star point guard and Kyrie Irving. And I think when you trade someone like Kyrie Irving, that completely changes the makeup of this team. And it might be different if the Nets had some of their players available who could slide in and maybe take that spot and potentially create some offense. But I really don't see it. And on top of that, these are 2 of the slowest teams throughout the NBA. The Nets are 20th in terms of pace throughout the NBA, and the Clippers are 26th. And in addition to that, both these teams are very solid defensively. Kyrie Irving being on the Mavericks actually helps the Nets defensively. For one, they're not going to be as fast. Kyrie Irving is somewhat of a defensive liability, so they're going to shore that up a little bit more. So I actually think this game is going to be slower now and better in terms of defense. Furthermore, this Nets team is 11-13 to the under while at home, and the Clippers are actually 19-12 to the over on the road. So, but when I look at this just comes down to the makeup of this Brooklyn Nets team at this point in time. Kyrie Irving just got traded. KD is still out. Ben Simmons is going to be out. Seth Curry is going to be out. TJ Warren on top of that. And a lot of these guys are really all the offense that this team has. So now you're telling me that this is a 220.5 total. And where are these points going to come from? Is it going to be Nicholas Claxton? Is it going to be Royce O'Neal? Is it going to be Edmund Summer? I mean, these are people who are averaging just around 10 points a game. So for me, when I look at this total, I really do like the under 220.5 because even from the Clippers side, that's a good defensive team with Kawhi Leonard, with Paul George, 2 of the longer defenders, things like that. So really, when you look at this Nets team, it's like if you want offense, it's going to come from Nicholas Claxton probably. So for me, which again, no disrespect to Nick Claxton, I think he's a very solid young player, things like that. But I just don't see this going over a 220.5 total with everything that the Nets have going on. And then even when you look at the Clippers, when you're on a 6-game road trip in your last game, potentially looking ahead to going home and starting that homestand, I think it is tougher to come out and score a bunch of points, and that's not really who this Clippers team is. So for me, I like this under 220.5 in this spot.
Matt, man, I'm actually on the other side here. I was looking actually to the over here. I think the longer this road trip goes, the worse the defense is for the Clippers here. I looked at their records here as when they do at least 3 road games in a row. They are 6-4 straight up, 9-1 against the spread, but they're giving up more points on the road there than they do at home. More specifically, in these longer road trips, like the longer the road trip goes, it feels like they focus more so on offense than they do on defense because of their tired legs, right? So that's what I've been noticing there. And also a few trends to just note too. Clippers, they're 12-4 straight up, 9-7 ATS, but 10-6 to the over as road favorites. If you include that they're traveling in that spot where they're the non-conference team, like if they're going east, they're 6-1 to the over there. Also 7-2 to the over as road favorites with Kawhi and PG in the lineup. So their offense really is what drives the over on their side. But the Nets, they just came off a game where they put up 125 points with a lot of nobodies that you just mentioned. The guys that showed up really were guys like Cam Thomas, Ed Sumner. I mean, these guys are really just bucket getters, to be honest, and they weren't in the rotation because they didn't play defense. So that's the reason why I feel like this one's going to go over. I also do lean towards the Clippers here. Nets coming off of that outright win shorthanded. I do think this is sort of a letdown spot here. I do agree that they're not going to score 125 again, right? They're not going to score a combined 250 with both teams, but I think this total might be low enough for them to just squeak over. That's the way that I would look here, is really towards the Clippers and to the over. I would lean in those directions. I do have a best bet in this game as well later on, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later. So let's move on to the next game here. We got the Mavs and the Jazz. Mavs coming off of the loss. This is the other side of the trade with Kyrie. Mavs coming off of that loss to the Warriors on Saturday. They did cover that game, though. They were missing Luka and Wood, so they didn't have a lot of offense that game, but were able to cover the game. Second game of a 5-game road trip. Jazz coming off of that loss to the Hawks on Friday. So that's a day extra of rest that they do have over the Mavs team here. Fourth game of a 5-game homestand too, so they haven't been traveling at all. From an injury perspective, what I see for the Mavs here, Kyrie, Luka, Kleber, and Bertans are all out. Christian Wood is questionable. I would think they would need him today to really have a good game against the Jazz here. Vanderbilt questionable for the Jazz, only, nobody else. From a matchup perspective, they have split both matchups so far this season, with the home teams winning outright both times. But the Jazz did cover in both games. Jazz won outright the most recent game. No Luka, no Wood, no Kleber for Dallas. So as far as the injury report, pretty much the same from when the Jazz won the last game. Do we see a similar outcome here? Matt, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, honestly, with a lot of the things that you mentioned, this is definitely one of a tougher game to kind of gauge. Because again, anytime those players are traded or a guy's coming into the lineup and he's not going to be played, you're missing that player spot or that star player. And then on top of that, you're wondering how these guys are going to slide in and play on top of that. And, the Dallas Mavericks are traveling on the road to face off against the Utah Jazz. And the Dallas Mavericks are coming off that loss to the Golden State Warriors. And obviously, like I said before, recently just traded for Kyrie Irving. And in this spot, too, the Dallas Mavericks will be without Luka Doncic, Kyrie, Christian Wood, and Davis Bertans. And, not like Davis Bertans matters all that much, but he does have that outside shot. And this is a Jazz team that does play far better at home on the season. On top of that, they're 16-11-1 against the spread on the season. And again, one problem with the Mavs here is I believe they traded away one of their key defenders in Dorian Finney-Smith. And with that trade, me personally, I think that was the one piece that the Dallas Mavericks were like, we really wish we could have kept him. Because I really did feel like Dorian Finney-Smith was a key guy for that Dallas Mavericks team. He's a very key defender, rebounder, and just one of those kind of hometown guys. And, this is a spot where typically I might go with the injury replacement theory, but I really just can't do it here because, again, you're putting a lot of faith in guys like Tim Hardaway Jr., Reggie Bullock, and Josh Green. And, when you look at Hardaway Jr. and Reggie Bullock, those two guys, they have their spots, don't get me wrong, but they are very inconsistent in terms of offensive output, game in, game out. And then I look at it on the other side, and you look at someone like Lauri Markkanen now. And now Lauri Markkanen is going to be matched up with someone like Reggie Bullock or someone like Tim Hardaway Jr., Josh Green. And that is a huge mismatch for someone like Lauri Markkanen, who has been a very good scorer. His point prop is at 25.5, and his points plus rebounds is 35.5 for this game. And I think both of those are very good bets at this point in time because, again, he's going to be matched up with a much smaller defender, so he's going to have no issue backing his defender down, getting to the basket, anything along those lines. And then on top of that, Lauri Markkanen has been one of the key rebounders for this Utah Jazz team because Kelly Olynyk, when he's in at the 5, he's not like the best rebounder in the world. And then Walker Kessler's a lot more solid, but he's a lot of the time using his body to box out that big center or box out that 4, and then Lauri Markkanen comes in and gets it. So for me, I really do like the look of Lauri Markkanen here. And then on top of that, I think I would be with the Utah Jazz minus 9.5. This is definitely not a game where I'm jumping to get to the window and put a ticket in. I'm probably going to avoid this game altogether. Too many unknowns and too many players that I'd have to put my faith in just because Kyrie or Luka is out and things like that. But I really do think that look with Lauri Markkanen is a pretty good one and one worth looking further into on top of that. If this is a game that makes it to the fourth quarter, Lauri Markkanen gets his full run, I don't see any way he doesn't hit this number. So I think that would actually be my favorite play from this game.
Yeah, that's a good look because this line is really high, right? 9.5 for the Jazz here. Typically, we talk about it too with the Jazz. We don't really like them as home favorites, but what I did notice when I looked into this game a little bit more, they actually cover the larger lines, but don't cover the short lines. So when I looked at them specifically, when favored by 7 or more points at home, 7-1 straight up, 6-2 ATS, averaging 120.4 per game, allowing 108.9 per game. Another thing that you mentioned, Matt, with the injury replacement theory, usually we like to fade that spot, right? But Mavs with no Luka, there is no injury replacement theory. There's nobody who can replace Luka here. I looked at them without Luka, 0-7 straight up, 2-5 ATS, only averaging 107.3 per game, allowing 118.9. So I can only look towards the to the Jazz here. there's no way that I could back the Mavs without Luka. Joe, what are your thoughts on this one? I mean, is it Jazz or nothing here? And it is a large line, but there's no way that I could see anyone scoring on the Mavs side without Luka, and Wood is also questionable as well. He's going to be a key component as far as monitoring that injury report. What are your thoughts on this game?
Well, Ronald, just like me, I'm going to keep this breakdown extremely short and very sweet. Let me attack the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room. No, my ex has not walked in. Yes, the Mavericks now have Kyrie. You like that, right? She was a big girl. Anyway, yes, the Mavericks have now have Kyrie. But as of the show, he's not going to be available tonight. Having said that, even if he was on the floor, please understand, Luka is not expected to play, as both Matt and yourself have touched on. He's nursing that heel injury. I got to tell you guys, I'm not crazy about laying nearly double digits with the home team Utah Jazz here tonight either. Yes, the Jazz took down the Mavs a little over a week ago on this very same court, 108-100. And they've also covered 5 of the last 7 overall at home coming into tonight's contest. But this is a lot of points, folks. And in my opinion, there's too many ifs. I hate doing the quotes, but there's too many if factors surrounding tonight's matchup. I can see arguments for both sides. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't put money on the Mavs right now, but the Jazz, it's way too many points, as Ronald just mentioned. However, I think this is really too tough to call, guys. I'm staying away from this one, sports fans. Better games on the board, not as many variables. I'm stepping away.
Agreed there. I think I can only look towards the Jazz, but I'm not running to the window with it like Matt mentioned, especially at this number here. But a lot of things did point towards that direction here. All right, well, we got one game left. It is the Bucks and the Blazers. The Bucks traveling to visit the Portland Trail Blazers tonight. I believe this is the last game on the board as well. So Bucks on a 7-game winning streak, coming off of that win over the Heat on Saturday. This is the first of a 3-game West Coast road trip following 4 straight home games. So this is sort of a fade spot that me and Matt have typically talk about in this show here. On the Blazers side, they are coming off of the loss to the Bulls on Saturday that broke their 3-game winning streak. So they were on a pretty good they had some momentum on their side, but they took the loss there to the Bulls. First of a 5-game homestand following 3 straight road games. This one is a funky spot here as well for their travel. Typically coming home off of a 3-game road trip, that's another fade spot. So we're seeing 2 spots where we think that both teams might be, not starting the game off at least strong for the most part. Key game against the Warriors on deck as well. Possible look ahead for the Blazers. From an injury perspective, Portis is out. Giannis is probable. On the Blazers side, Nurkic and Winslow is out. I think Nurkic is a really key guy there as far as the injury report on the Blazers side. Gary Payton and Drew Eubanks should be probable for the Blazers there, so we should see them in the lineup. They've already faced each other once this season. The Bucks took care of business there, 119-111, but the Blazers did cover because they were 9.5-point dogs in Milwaukee. Joe, let's start with you here. What are your thoughts on this game? Giannis is obviously probable. He should play. Do you think he can get it done here in the first game over on the West Coast?
Well, Ronald, I think this is the most exciting matchup on the board tonight with endless possibilities. Giannis and Damian. I could end my analysis with just saying that and give you an opinion on a side, and it would be enough, folks. Having said that, my friends, Portland covered the first meeting at the end of November on the road, getting 9.5 points, losing 119-111. Both teams come in here playing some very good basketball. The Bucks have won 7 in a row, as Ronald mentioned, straight up, while the Blazers have taken 5 of the last 7 straight up as well. However, both teams, in my opinion, tend to get a little overvalued when it comes to the number. Case in point, Milwaukee has split out their last 8 against the spread, 4-4 ATS, while Portland's covered just 4 of their last 10 outings. As superstars go, the Greek Freak's numbers are absolutely astounding. And in all sincerity, this season, he's doing something that he hasn't done in previous season, and that's passing the ball a little bit more, and it's made the whole team better overall. Lillard, what can you say? At 100% healthy right now, he scored 40 points 4 times over the last 7 games. His numbers also very impressive, guys. There's no question the Bucks possess a little stronger of a defense, and I do like, in my opinion, if somebody's going to make the difference in this game, it's Chris Middleton. He's looking like he's back in full form, and I got to tell you, it makes the entire team better. However, I will tell you, I just won't underestimate the Blazers coming off a loss and returning home here. I know Milwaukee has had some success against the number playing in Portland, but I do put a small lean on the Blazers here with the points at home coming off that loss, my friends. I put a lean on the home team here.
Lean on the home team. That means he's leaning towards the Blazers here. Matt, what are your thoughts on this game? Do you see an advantage or an edge on the side or the total, or are we looking at props here with Giannis or Lillard?
Yeah, in this game, my best bet is actually one of the props, so we'll hold off on that. But I actually really do like a total here as well. I was on Joe's show earlier this morning, First Family of Las Vegas, and this was my best bet on his show. And this play is the Milwaukee Bucks facing off against the Portland Trailblazers, and we're rolling with the under 242. And Ron, this is something me and you have talked about plenty of times when you get into these around that 242 number. A lot of the trends actually do favor the under in this spot. And you see a lot of pace-up matchups. You see a lot of really great offenses, fast teams, a little bit of everything. And you think automatically, hey, this is going to go over. When in reality, when you have two teams in a 242 total, you need to play damn near perfect basketball the entire game to hit that over. Okay, and this is a spot where the Milwaukee Bucks are traveling on the road to face off against the Portland Trailblazers. And for this number, the Milwaukee Bucks have hit this in 3 of their last 7 games. And as for the Portland Trailblazers, this is a number they've hit in 4 of their last 7 games. But when you take a look at this a little further, the Blazers have hit this over against the San Antonio Spurs, Utah Jazz, and Atlanta Hawks. All 3 teams bottom 20 in terms of overall defensive efficiency, and 3 teams that are higher in terms of pace. And, you look at this number and you definitely understand it because of 1, how good Damian Lillard has been playing, and 2, how good Giannis Antetokounmpo has been playing. Both of these guys it seems like they're scoring 35 plus every single night. But one thing I want to say is with the Milwaukee Bucks, they do have Drew Holiday, who is potentially the best guard defender in all of basketball. So he'll be matched up against Damian Lillard. And as a whole, this is a Milwaukee Bucks team who's 3rd overall in defensive efficiency. So I think they can make it a little bit tougher for the Blazers. And then both of these teams, in terms of average time of possession, this is a statistic that is often overlooked. The Milwaukee Bucks are 15th in average offensive time of possession, and that's how long you are shooting the basketball within that 24-second shot clock. And then as for the Portland Trailblazers, they're 24th throughout the NBA in average possession length. So both of these teams are taking long times to get into their sets, or they're totally fine with driving it to the basket, pulling it back out, starting it again, things like that. And then on top of that, too, you look at this Portland Trailblazers team, they're going to be without Yusuf Nurkic in this spot, who is a better offensive player. And I do understand that a lot of people will say this will open up the game a little bit more, which it definitely could. And I think that's also why I think Giannis is in a prime spot here tonight. But again, once I dive into this a little bit more and you look at this 242 total, kind of going back to what I said earlier, you have to play near perfect basketball the entire game to hit an over 242 total. And this is just one of those spots where I really don't see that happening, because when you look at the Milwaukee Bucks, they've been very good on defense and not that great on offense. A lot of it comes down to Giannis and how he plays. Drew Holiday, a great basketball player, but also one of the more inconsistent players in all of basketball. Chris Middleton, a very nice basketball player, but still on a minutes limit. So how many points can he really score? So then without those 2 guys, then you're putting your faith in guys like Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton, Brooke Lopez, all guys who, are around that 8 to 12 points per game range. And me personally, yeah, I see Giannis having a great game, but I don't know how much everyone else is going to chip in. So for me, I kind of see it going somewhat similar to their last outing where they finished around 230. I definitely see this finishing in that 230 range, but I don't think it gets higher than that 242. So I'm still on this under 242 for the Bucks and the Blazers tonight.
I 100% agree there, Matt. We did talk about this a lot, especially in the last few weeks here. With totals greater than 240, those games have gone under in 18 of the last 20 games. And so that's something that's been going on since mid-January. We had a cluster of overs. The book started to adjust and give us higher totals. And now we're coming back down a little bit. And we're seeing these totals that hit the 240s now going under. Like I said, 18 and 2 to the under the last 20 games. with a total of 240 or more. That's just league wide. That's not even team specific there. If we look at the Bucks, you touched on the Bucks here, who struggle offensively on the road and are really great defensively on the road. They're actually number one in offensive rating. Number one in defensive rating on the road, but dead last offensive rating on the road as well. So that's why we're seeing a lot of their road games going under. If you look at them specifically in road games following a home game, so with travel involved, they are 9-3 to the under. But if you include that they're in a road game following a multiple home games, so at least 2 home games in a row, they're 5-0 to the under in that spot. We talk about revenge. The revenge angle. The Blazers are in the revenge angle here. They are actually 8-4 to the under in revenge games. They're not winning or covering at a high rate. They're 4-8 straight up, 4-8 against the spread. So this revenge angle doesn't really hit hard for the Blazers, but it does for the under here. They're averaging a combined score of 228 per game, and we have a total of 242, like we mentioned earlier. So the only way that I could look here is to the under. I wish I did a little bit more research on this prior to last night, because this probably would have been my best bet, to be honest. I do really like this under now, especially with the total going up. I feel like we're getting a little bit more points on our side here. It opened at 239, now it's 242. Yeah, I think that the total is going the other way. I do like the under there. With that said, it is time for the best bet section. Matt, did you have anything else to add? It seems like you. Did you have something?
I was just going to say how surprising it is, because over the past week, we talked about that trend on this show. That trend absolutely smashed, and even anything remotely close to it. Like there were 2 that were over 240. I took the unders on those. Both of those hit. And then there was a 239.5. It was Pistons. I can't remember who the Pistons played exactly, but that hit the under as well. So it's like anything hovering around that 240, like we see these exciting players going out, scoring so many points, fast-paced matchup, and you immediately want to take the over. But in reality, it's the under that's absolutely been cashing. And like you said, the books are just overcorrecting it. And a lot of the public, and I understand it. We want points. We want high-scoring games. We want to bet on those 35, 40-point nights. So that's what you hope for. But in reality, a lot of these games are coming out far, far slower than expected.
Yeah, 100%. I think like you mentioned earlier, these teams really have to play perfect ball. They got to hit 50%. They got to play a fast pace. They got to shoot hit the 3-ball and the free throws. I mean, pretty much a perfect game, like you said. That's really tough to do in the NBA today. But obviously, it does happen once in a while. But right now, when the points are being expected to score, it's not happening. But let's get to the best bets here. Joe, let's start with you. I know you got a promo going on too as well. 7-day all access pass for $49. Promo code BULL7, and that's for you and Dion as well, right, Joe?
That's right. Myself and my wife, the First Lady of Las Vegas. We make history every day. We're the first couple in the history of the sports betting business to do this. And, I don't know how we don't kill each other on a regular basis to begin with, but the fact that she does sports that I don't do makes it easier on both of us. Yes, either myself, Joe D'Amico, or the First Lady of Las Vegas, Dion D'Amico, 7 full-day access, $49, bowl 7 upon checkout. I will tell you this. I passed today. I know she passed today. But the good thing and the great thing really about SportsMemo and Wager Talk, guys, is you can pick the day you want to choose to use your discount. But go over to SportsMemo after the show. Take advantage of that. Whether you follow either D'Amico, trust me, you'll follow us to the bank. Now, as far as some other things that are going, guys, I am excited. Now, I did tell you that I hit a speed bump over the weekend, college basketball 2-4. Not the worst. Since the NBA season began, 60% documented just over the last few months, over 70%. I don't put out a ton of plays, but what I'm putting out is making money. Now, today's card, I want you guys to know, was a little short and not very enticing. Therefore, I did pass. But I will be back tomorrow. A couple of games, both on college and pro football, caught my eye. I will have my Super Bowl play out by tomorrow afternoon with several props. Now, guys, as far as the props go, I include that in my Super Bowl pick. I've gone as well as 13-0, 14-0, 14-1, 14-2 with props during the Super Bowl. They will all be included. Now, guys, I told you I had a rough weekend. But as the champion I am, I will come back tomorrow, redeem myself. 7-time number 1 NBA capper. 6-time college basketball number 1 capper. 10-time number 1 baseball capper. All documented. If you throw in preseason football and arena football, I did 1 season arena football finish first. I have more number 1 titles than the Yankees have rings. And that's a lot of rings. That's 27. I have more than them, guys. Guys, this is an ideal time to follow me, Matt, Ronald, any one of the great cappers over at SportsMemo. That Super Bowl to Super Bowl promo, $11.99. You can't beat that with a bat. And I'll tell you this. I did have an off weekend. 2-4 is really ugly. I mean, that's as ugly as the last girl left in the bar at last call. However, the time to jump on somebody's hot streak is right after they quit losing. And I am done with that losing crap. That's all behind me. This is a game I want to give out, Ronald, Matt, sports fans, that almost made it as a premium play. I'm excited about it. So excited I didn't take a Viagra today. I didn't need it. The Sacramento Kings, my friend, have dropped 2 games in a row since, you like that, right? Have dropped 2 games in a row since star guard and team leading scorer De'Aaron Fox has been absent. This team must get back on track, and they must get back on track when? Right now, tonight, guys. All right? What better opponent to face than the Houston Rockets to accomplish that goal? The Kings have dominated the Rockets, taking 6 of the last 7 meetings, both straight up and against the number, including both meetings this season. The Rockets, owners of the single worst record in all of the NBA, absolutely deplorable. 29th offensively, 25th defensively. There's nothing nice you could say about this team. My mama told me if you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all. But I'm not my mom. I'm going to continue to bash this team. They have a laundry list of players either banged up or listed as questionable or out or whatever tonight. They do come in here with a day rest as opposed to a Kings team that played a barn burner last night, getting scorched on the road by the Pelicans, 136-104. But that embarrassing defeat really, to my opinion, throws up the urgency sign for this team. They need to win, as I mentioned a moment ago. The last few outings have been their lowest back-to-back performances for this team since when? Mid-December. Let's not forget that they still possess the top-scoring offense in the league. As I mentioned, I feel the need for urgency and getting a couple of W's, you like that, is imperative for them right now. They've covered 4 of the last 5 meetings in Houston and the last 4 overall versus Houston. And by the way, they've also covered 10 of the last 11 on the road versus teams with a losing home record. I'm taking the Kings tonight to crown my bookmaker. You follow me, and we'll be treated right like royalty. I promise you that.
There you go. Joe D'Amico with the Kings as his best bet. Make sure you guys use that promo code BOWLS7 for that 7-day all-access Super Bowl on Sunday. So that should be included if you get it today. Matt, what is your best bet for today? Also, what do you got going on the premium side as well?
Yeah, and one thing, once again, we always touch on this, is I really appreciate the transparency with SportsMemo, Wager Talk. Joe was saying he kind of was going through a little bit of a rough patch. I went through a little bit of a rough patch 2 weeks ago. We bounced back, went 8-2, and that's one thing about the Cappers here. We feel the wins, and we definitely feel the losses with you. And, coming off last week, we went 3-0 with the best bets. I'm feeling pretty good. Want to keep putting some money in your pocket. So let's keep this rolling today with Giannis Antetokounmpo over 48.5 points plus rebounds. And in all honesty, guys, this is an absolute smash spot for Giannis. And, Giannis is traveling on the road to face off against the Portland Trailblazers. And this is a number that Giannis has now hit in 6 of his last 10 games and has actually hit this number 4 games in a row. Now, Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks face a Portland Trailblazers team who will be without center Yusuf Nurkic, and the backup, Drew Eubanks, is also questionable on top of that. And because of Nurkic being out, Eubanks being questionable, I see the middle for this Portland Trailblazers team opening wide up. And Drew Eubanks actually has to be very, very careful against Giannis because this Portland Trailblazers team does not have a true backup center. It's only Eubanks. If he is out, there is nothing left, and this game opens wide up. On top of that, this is a Portland Trailblazers team who is 26th throughout the NBA in overall adjusted defensive rating and will have either Jeremy Grant or Drew Eubanks lined up against Giannis. And this is a huge mismatch. The statistics back it up on top of that because the Portland Trailblazers are actually the worst team throughout the entire NBA in terms of guarding centers. They're giving up 26.23 points per game to the center position and 14.43 rebounds to go with it. And as we know, Giannis runs that hybrid 5 position for the Milwaukee Bucks, and it's somewhat of a hybrid position, and it works very, very well due to the fact that they have Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez kind of hangs out at that 3-point line. He spaces the court out very well. Then that allows Giannis to slash to the middle, get the rebounds, things of that nature. Another thing that having Brook Lopez on the team, what it does is it forces different matchups. And if you can remember, if you watched Giannis when he faced the Clippers and had 54 points and 19 rebounds, what the Clippers did was they actually decided not to run Paul George or Kawhi Leonard on Giannis. They ran Ivica Zubac on Giannis Antetokounmpo instead. And I think that's to keep Paul George and Kawhi Leonard out of foul trouble. And it kind of forces Giannis to try and make his jump shots, okay? And tonight against the Blazers, I see the same thing happening because if they put Jeremy Grant on Giannis, that's a huge mismatch. Giannis is going to get to the basket every single time, and all that's going to occur is Jeremy Grant is going to get in foul trouble. So I think what they do is they run Drew Eubanks on Giannis Antetokounmpo once again. They play that drop coverage where he just goes kind of underneath the basket and allows Giannis to take those jump shots. But all that really does is Giannis is allowed to attack the basket. He gets fouled. He gets in rhythm with those jump shots. He's become a much improved jump shooter on top of that. And Drew Eubanks is not someone who's going to be able to run that drop coverage on Giannis Antetokounmpo. So for me here, I really do see this as being an absolute smash spot for Giannis once again. I would not be surprised whatsoever to see him get another 40-point outing, 15 rebounds, just absolutely smashing this number. Because like I said earlier, guys like Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton still on a minutes limit. Drew Holiday, most inconsistent player probably in the entire NBA. And then you're going down to Grayson Allen and Pat Connaughton. You don't want to do that. It's going to be another high usage night for Giannis, a 20-plus shot night for Giannis, 15 rebounds around there. So I'm going with Giannis Antetokounmpo over 48.5 points plus rebounds tonight. Let's make it 4 in a row. Mute.
My bad. What I was saying was Giannis should have a game here where the pace of play should be in favor of that points and rebounds over there. For me, the best bet, I believe I'm going to see. Yeah, I do have it. All right, so I'm going back to the Nets and the Clippers here. I did talk about the Clippers and the over, but I wanted to be a little bit more specific. I do like the Clippers team total over, and here's why. The Nets have allowed their opponents to go over the team total in 5 of their last 6 games. Nets defensive rating in their last 5 games, 28th in the league. The Clippers offensive rating their last 5 games haven't been great, but if you look at who they played, Cavs, Bulls, and Bucks, in 3 of those games, that's the big reason why. Cavs and Bucks are number 1 and 2 in defensive rating this season. The Bulls have been a top 3 defensive rated team the last 15. So we're looking at key defensive teams really affecting the Clippers offense. Other than that, in 4 of the last 7 games, they've hit over 120, and that's against teams who don't play defense. And for me, the Nets, they gave up 124 the other day to the Wizards. You're missing a lot of defense and length without KD, a couple of other guys as well. To me, I think that this is a spot where the Clippers get right offensively. Clippers team total over. They've gone over their team total in 6 of the last 7 road favorite situations. They scored under 114 in just 1 of them, and that's the total today, 114. So give me the over, team total over 114 for the Clippers there. As far as on the premium side, I only have NBA plays today. I do have 3 games up. This team total over is one of them. As far as college and everything else, I don't have a college play today, but I have been running hot there. The MMA as well. We have a huge MMA card this weekend. I don't know if Matt is going to touch on it, but I know I will be. Obviously, the Super Bowl as well. All access packages, man. That's the way to go here. The Super Bowl to Super Bowl. I also have a 30-day all access package available as well. Access 30 is a promo code for $179 for 30 days. I believe I did mention Joe's 7-day all access package as well. Matt, I don't know if he has one, but you definitely got to touch on Matt's all access package as well. He does a lot more than just the NBA. Over at SportsMemo.com, we really have a wide array of cappers, man, soccer, everything. And we also have the live odds page, all those deals going on the site as well. Got to make sure you head over there on a daily basis to see what we got going on. With that said, guys, that is the end of the show. It is Monday, so we got Wednesday and Friday coming up. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the triple double is 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the same channel. I believe we have Jeff Michaels on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see him there. Good luck with everybody's action. Until then, peace.
Peace.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at wagertalk.com, and all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.